The rain had been falling for 3 days straight when Maya realized she might never see Jordan again. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Hurricane Helena was meant to veer east, out into the Atlantic where it could exhaust itself over open water. Instead, it had turned inland with a fury that meteorologists hadn't predicted. And now the coastal town of Mariner's Rest was flooding faster than anyone could have imagined. Maya pressed her face against the window of the emergency shelter, searching the darkness beyond for any sign of headlights. The elementary school gymnasium was packed with over 200 people, all of them evacuated from the lower-lying areas of town. But Jordan wasn't here. She was still out there somewhere in the storm, and Maya had no way to reach her. "She'd be okay," said Mrs. Chun, placing a weathered hand on Maya's shoulder. The elderly woman had known both of them since they were children. "That girl is tougher than she looks." Maya nodded, not trusting herself to speak. Tough didn't matter when you were facing 15-foot storm surges and winds strong enough to flip cars. The coffee shop wasn't much to look at, just a renovated fishing shack on the marina with mismatched furniture and a temperamental espresso machine. But it made the best cold brew on the Carolina coast. And that's why Maya found herself there every morning before her shift at the Marine Research Center. She'd been standing in line, scrolling through her phone when she heard the crash. A woman had backed into the display of locally made honey jars, sending a dozen of them tumbling to the floor. Glass shattered, golden honey spreading across the worn floorboards like a slow-moving flood. "Oh God, oh no, I'm so sorry." The woman was already on her knees, trying to scoop honey back into broken jars with her bare hands, which was only making things worse. Maya grabbed a roll of paper towels from the counter. "Hey, stop. You're going to cut yourself." The woman looked up and Maya felt something shift in her chest. She had dark curly hair pulled back in a messy bun, freckles across her nose, and the most striking green eyes Maya had ever seen. Those eyes were currently shimmering with frustrated tears. "I'm such a disaster," the woman said. "I was trying to read the ingredients. I'm allergic to lavender and I just backed right into them." "I'll pay for all of it, obviously. It's okay, really." Maya knelt beside her, starting to carefully pick up the larger shards of glass. "I'm Maya, Jordan." She managed a weak smile. "Jordan Torres." Professional klutz, apparently. The shop owner, a gruff man named Pete who'd run the place for 30 years, waved them off. "Don't worry about it. Insurance'll cover it. Just be careful with that glass." As they cleaned up together, Maya learned that Jordan had just moved to Mariner's Rest 2 weeks ago. She was a veterinarian, taking over the practice from old Dr. Harrison, who was finally retiring after 45 years of service. "I'm from Atlanta originally," Jordan explained as they deposited glass shards into a cardboard box. "But I wanted something different. Slower pace, you know? Near the ocean." "You picked a good town for it," Maya said. "Though it'll take people a while to warm up to you. Folks here don't trust anyone who hasn't been around for at least a decade." Jordan laughed. "Great, so I'll be the outsider until I'm 40. "Pretty much." Maya grinned. "But I'll vouch for you. I'm a local. That should count for something." "You do that? Even though you just watched me destroy a small business's entire honey inventory?" "Especially because of that. Anyone can make a good first impression. Takes talent to recover from a bad one." They exchanged numbers that morning. Just as friends, Maya told herself. Just being welcoming to someone new in town. But when Jordan texted her 3 hours later, a photo of her covered in mud after a golden retriever had escaped during an exam in lead. Her on a chase through the marsh, Maya found herself smiling. So why'd her colleague asked if she'd won the lottery. Their friendship developed like the tide coming in gradually, then all at once, until suddenly it surrounded everything. Maya found excuses to stop by the veterinary clinic. Jordan started showing up at the Marine Center, fascinated by Maya's work tagging and tracking sea turtles. They got dinner together twice a week, then 4 times, then almost every night, trading off who cooked. Jordan was everything Maya hadn't known she was looking for. She was brilliant but goofy, passionate about her work but never taking herself too seriously. She cried during sad movies and laughed at her own jokes before she finished telling them. She was generous with everyone, staying late at the clinic for emergencies without charging extra. volunteering at the animal shelter on weekends, and she was completely, devastatingly straight, or at least, that's what Maya assumed. Jordan talked about her ex-boyfriend in Atlanta sometimes, the relationship that had ended badly enough that she'd wanted a completely fresh start. She never mentioned being interested in women. Never gave any sign that she saw Maya as anything more than a really good friend. So Maya buried her feelings deep. She'd had crushes on straight friends before, back in college. She knew how to handle it. You just didn't think about it. Didn't let yourself imagine what it would be like to hold their hand, or wake up next to them, or kiss them in the rain like something out of a movie. You definitely didn't think about the way they looked when they concentrated on something, or how their whole face lit up when they laughed, or the way they said your name like it meant something special. Maya was usually pretty good at denial. But with Jordan, past Jordan, with Whoosh, with Towage Jordan, it was getting harder every day. The turning point came on the 4th of July. The whole town turned out for the annual fireworks display on the beach. Maya and Jordan spread out a blanket near the dunes, far enough from the families with screaming kids that they could actually talk. Jordan had brought wine in a travel mug and homemade cookies that were slightly burnt on the bottom but still delicious. They lay on their backs, watching the sky fade from blue to purple to black, talking about everything and nothing. "Can I tell you something?" Jordan said suddenly during a lull in the conversation. Maya's heart jumped. "Of course. I'm really glad I moved here." Jordan turned her head to look at Maya. "I was so scared I'd made a mistake, you know? Leaving everything familiar, starting over in a place where I didn't know anyone. But now I can't imagine being anywhere else." "Because of the ocean?" Maya tried to keep her voice light. "Because of you." The words hung in the air between them. Maya couldn't breathe. "You've made this feel like home," Jordan continued. "You're the best friend I've ever had, Maya. I just wanted you to know that." "Friend." The word was like cold water. "You're my best friend too," Maya managed. The fireworks started then, explosions of color painting the sky. Jordan shifted closer, and Maya felt the warmth of her body all along her side. She told herself this was enough. This closeness, this friendship, it had to be enough, but her heart wasn't listening. 2 weeks later, Jordan showed up at Maya's apartment at 11 at night, drenched from a sudden summer storm. "I know it's late," she said when Maya opened the door, "but I couldn't sleep, and Can I come in?" "Of course." Maya grabbed a towel from the bathroom. "You're soaked." "What happened?" Jordan took the towel but didn't use it, just clutched it in her hands. "I've been thinking about something for a while now, and I keep trying to talk myself out of it, but I can't, so I just need to say it." Maya's heart was pounding. "Okay, when I left Atlanta, I told everyone it was because my relationship ended. And that's true, but it's not the whole truth." Jordan's words came fast now, tumbling over each other. "It ended because I finally admitted something to myself. Something I've been avoiding for years." Maya waited, afraid to hope. "I told myself I just hadn't met the right guy yet. That's why none of my relationships worked. But the problem wasn't finding the right guy." Jordan looked up, meeting Maya's eyes. "It was that I was trying to be with guys at all." The world tilted. "I'm gay," Jordan said and laughed shakily. "God, I've never said that out loud before. I'm gay, and I've probably known it since I was 14, but I was too scared to admit it. My family, they wouldn't understand. So I just kept pretending." "Jordan, but I can't pretend anymore. Not after meeting you." Jordan stepped closer. "Because somewhere between destroying that honey display and now, I felt completely in love with you, Maya, and I know that might ruin everything. And if you just want to be friends, then I'll respect that, but I had to tell you. I couldn't keep lying to both of us." Maya couldn't speak, couldn't think, could only close the distance between them and kiss Jordan like she'd been dreaming about for months. Jordan made a small sound of surprise, then melted into it, her hands coming up to cup Maya's face. She tasted like rain and mint toothpaste. The kiss was gentle at first, tentative, then deeper as months of wanting poured out of both of them. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Jordan was crying. "Happy tears," she said quickly. "These are definitely happy tears." Maya brushed them away with her thumbs. "I love you too." I've loved you since that first morning. Maybe even since the honey jars. Jordan laughed, that bright, full laugh that Maya adored. I'm so glad I destroyed that display. They stayed up all night talking. Jordan told her about growing up in a conservative family, about knowing she was different but not having the words for it, about the shame and fear she'd carried for so long. Maya told her about coming out in college, about her own journey to acceptance, about the freedom of finally being honest about who she was. I'm scared, Jordan admitted as dawn started to break outside. I don't know how to do this. I've never been with a woman before. We'll figure it out together, Maya said. No pressure. We'll go at whatever pace feels right. Jordan smiled. What if the pace that feels right is really, really fast? Then we'll go really, really fast. They spent the next 2 months in a blissful bubble. Jordan was nervous about being publicly out in a small town, so they were careful, no hand-holding in public, no obvious displays of affection where people might see. Maya understood, even though part of her wanted to shout from the rooftops that Jordan Torres was her girlfriend, but in private, Jordan was affectionate and attentive and absolutely fearless. She threw herself into their relationship with the same enthusiasm she brought to everything else. She left little notes in Maya's lunch bag. She learned to cook Maya's favorite foods. She memorized the names of all the sea turtles Maya tracked out, and she was happy. Radiantly, obviously happy in a way she clearly never had been before. I didn't know it could be like this, she told Maya one night as they lay tangled together in bed. I always thought something was wrong with me, you know? Because I never felt that spark everyone talked about. But it wasn't that something was wrong, I was just with the wrong people. Maya kissed her forehead. I'm glad you figured it out. Me too. Even if it took me way too long. Jordan propped herself up on one elbow. I've been thinking. About telling people? About us, yeah? I'm tired of hiding. And I don't want you to feel like I'm ashamed of you, because I'm not. I'm so proud to be with you, Maya. I want people to know that. We don't have to rush, Maya said carefully. If you need more time, I don't need more time. I need to stop being scared. Jordan took a deep breath. Starting with my family. I'm going to call my mom this weekend. The call didn't go well. Jordan's mother had hung up after 5 minutes. Her father wouldn't come to the phone at all. Her older brother sent a text saying she was making a mistake and needed to pray about this. Maya held Jordan while she sobbed, rage and heartbreak and grief pouring out of her. This wasn't just losing her family's approval, it was losing the version of herself they'd wanted her to be. And mourning the acceptance she'd never really had. They'll come around, Maya said, though she wasn't sure she believed it. Give them time, and if they don't, then you'll have a new family here. You have me. You have this whole town, even if they don't all know it yet. Jordan pulled back, wiping her eyes. What if the town doesn't accept it either? What if everyone treats me differently? Some people might, Maya said honestly. But the ones who matter won't. And the ones who do treat you differently? They're showing you who they really are. That's valuable information. Slowly, carefully, they started being more open. They held hands at the farmer's market. Jordan kissed Maya goodbye at the marina, where half the local fishermen saw them. The reactions were mixed. Some people didn't care at all. Pete from the coffee shop just shrugged and said he'd figured it out weeks ago. Mrs. Chung gave them both fierce hugs and invited them over for dinner. The younger crowd barely blinked, but there were others. Sideways looks. Whispered conversations that stopped when they walked by. One of Jordan's clients pulled their dog from her practice and left. A 1-star review online mentioning alternative lifestyles. Jordan tried to brush it off, but Maya could see it hurt. Maybe we should have stayed quiet, Jordan said one night, after someone had left a hateful note on her car windshield. No, Maya said firmly. You don't get to make yourself small for people who refuse to see your worth. We deserve to exist openly, just like everyone else. But what if, no what ifs. We're not doing anything wrong, Jordan. We're just loving each other. If that makes some people uncomfortable, that's their problem to solve, not ours. Jordan leaned her head on Maya's shoulder. You're really brave, you know that? So are you. You're the bravest person I know. The warning started 4 days before the storm hit. Maya tracked its progress obsessively, watching the projections shift and change. At first, everyone thought Mariner's Rest would be fine, they'd get some wind and rain. But nothing they hadn't weathered before, but hurricanes are unpredictable. And this one was particularly vicious, 2 days out. The mandatory evacuation order came for the low-lying coastal areas. Maya lived on higher ground and could shelter in place, but Jordan's house was in the flood zone. "Come stay with me," Maya said immediately. "Pack whatever you need and come now before the roads get bad." "I can't," Jordan said. "I have 12 animals at the clinic right now recovering from surgeries. I can't just leave them." "Jordan, I'll be fine. The clinic's on stilts, remember? It's higher than most of the houses. And I'll leave before it gets really bad, I promise." "You should leave now, after I make sure the animals are secure. A few more hours won't matter." But a few hours did matter. The storm intensified faster than anyone predicted. The roads flooded before Jordan could evacuate, trapping her at the clinic with her staff member, Marcus, and all the animals they were caring for. Maya tried calling, but the cell towers went down. She tried texting, nothing went through. The power had been out for hours when the emergency alert came through on the radio: catastrophic flooding in the coastal zone. Multiple water rescues in progress. Everyone in affected areas should move to the highest ground possible immediately. That's when Maya broke. She tried to leave the shelter, but the emergency workers wouldn't let her. The roads were impassable, they said. The storm surge was still coming in. Going out there now would be suicide. She didn't care. Jordan was out there, possibly trapped, possibly hurt. Possibly she couldn't finish the thought. Mrs. Chen found her sobbing in the corner of the gymnasium, trying to figure out how to hotwire one of the rescue vehicles parked outside. "Stop," the old woman said gently but firmly. "You can't help her by getting yourself killed. I have to do something. You have to trust. Trust that she's smart and capable. Trust that she'll find a way to stay safe." Mrs. Chen took Maya's hands. "I know you love her. Anyone with eyes can see how you two look at each other. But love doesn't mean throwing your own life away." Maya knew she was right. But knowing didn't make the waiting any easier. The night stretched on endlessly. The wind howled like something alive. Rain hammered against the roof so hard it sounded like stones. Maya jumped at every sound, hoping it was news, a rescue team returning, anything. Around midnight, a group of firefighters came in, soaked and exhausted. Maya rushed over. "The clinic," she said desperately. "The veterinary clinic on Marsh Road. Have you been there? Is anyone there?" One of the firefighters checked his radio log. "We couldn't get through to that area. Water's too high. We're waiting for boats. But there are people there. At least 2 people, maybe more. We know. They're on the list. But we have to prioritize based on immediate danger. If they're in the building and it's still standing, they're safer staying put than trying to move them right now." It wasn't enough. It would never be enough. But it was all Maya had. Dawn broke gray and sullen. The rain had lessened to a steady downpour, and the wind had dropped from catastrophic to merely dangerous. Emergency crews started venturing out again, assessing damage, looking for people who needed rescue. Maya was first in line when they asked for volunteers to help with the search efforts. "I know the area," she said. "I know which buildings are which, where people are likely to be. Please." They gave her a vest and put her in a boat with 2 rescue workers. The town was unrecognizable. Water covered everything, muddy and filled with debris. Houses had been torn from their foundations. Boats lay in the middle of the street. A car hung from a tree, and possibly, Maya directed them to the clinic, her heart in her throat. The building was still standing, but barely. Water came halfway up the support stilts. The windows were blown out on one side. But there was movement inside. She could see it. "Jordan!" She screamed. "Jordan!" A face appeared at the window. Not Jordan Marcus, the vet tech. He was waving frantically. The rescue workers brought the boat alongside the building. Marcus helped pass out animal carriers one by one: dogs, cats, a rabbit, a parrot that wouldn't stop screaming. "Where's Jordan?" Maya demanded. Marcus's face was grim. "She went out 2 hours ago." Maya's blood turned to ice. "What?" "One of our clients, Mrs. Patterson's dog, Duke, he got loose during the storm. Ran out when a window blew in. Jordan went after him." "In the storm? Are you insane?" Why didn't you stop her? You think I didn't try? Marcus's voice broke. But you know Jordan. She wasn't going to let that dog die out there. She said she'd be back in 20 minutes. Which direction? Toward the marsh. But Maya, you can't. She was already asking the rescue workers to head that way. They hesitated. Protocol said they should evacuate Marcus and the animals first. But something in Maya's face made them reconsider. The marsh was a nightmare. Fallen trees blocked half the channels. The water was still high enough that they couldn't see what was underneath. Maya stared at every piece of debris, terrified she'd see a body. Then she heard a dog barking. There. She pointed toward what used to be a small hammock, now just barely above water. A German shepherd stood on it, barking frantically, and slumped against the tree behind him. Unconscious and half in the water was Jordan. Maya didn't remember jumping in. Didn't remember swimming through the debris-filled water or pulling herself up onto the hammock. She only remembered reaching Jordan, feeling for a pulse, finding one weak and thready, but there. Jordan, wake up. Please wake up. Jordan's eyes fluttered open. Maya, I've got you. You're okay. I've got you. Duke, Jordan mumbled. Got to? Save Duke. Duke's fine. He's right here. He's safe. Maya was crying, she realized. You're both safe now. The rescue workers helped get them all into the boat, Jordan. Maya and Duke, who licked Jordan's face the entire ride back at the emergency clinic. They discovered Jordan had hypothermia and a concussion from a falling branch, plus various cuts and bruises. But she was alive. She was going to be fine. Maya didn't leave her side. You could have died, Maya said later, after Jordan had been warmed up and treated and was resting in a hospital bed. You almost died for a dog. I couldn't let Duke die, Jordan said. Mrs. Patterson, he's all she has since her husband passed. And I couldn't stand the thought of telling you I'd given up. That I'd stayed safe while something I could have saved died out there. I would rather have you safe. I know. But that's not who I am. Jordan reached for Maya's hand. I'm the person who goes out in the storm. Sometimes literally, apparently. Maya laughed despite herself. You're an idiot. Yeah, but I'm your idiot. You are. Maya leaned forward, resting her forehead against Jordan's. You're my idiot, and I love you so much it terrifies me. When I thought I might lose you, you didn't. I'm right here. Promise me you won't do anything that reckless again. I can't promise that, Jordan said honestly. I can promise I'll try to be careful. I can promise I'll always do my best to come back to you. But I can't promise I'll never put myself at risk to help someone or some dog that needs it. That's not who I want to be. Maya pulled back to look at her. Jordan's hair was a mess. She had a bandage on her forehead, and there were dark circles under her eyes. She'd never looked more beautiful. Then I guess I'll just have to learn to live with loving someone brave and reckless and impossibly stubborn, Maya said. Jordan grinned. You say that like it's a bad thing. It's terrifying. But I wouldn't change it. Maya kissed her gently. I wouldn't change you. The town held a recovery celebration once most of the rebuilding was done. The boardwalk had been repaired, the boats salvaged or replaced, the damaged homes rebuilt or torn down. Mariner's Rest was battered but standing. The way it had stood through countless storms before, Jordan's clinic had. Reopened in a new location on higher ground, Mrs. Patterson had thrown a party for Duke's brave rescuer, inviting half the town. Even Jordan's mother had called a brief, awkward conversation. But it was a start. Maya and Jordan walked along the beach as the sun set, Duke running ahead of them chasing seagulls. I've been thinking, Jordan said, about that night. When I was out in the storm. Yeah? I wasn't scared, you know? Not of dying. I was scared I'd never get to tell you something. Maya stopped walking. What? Jordan turned to face her, taking both of Maya's hands. That I want to spend my life with you. However long that is, whatever comes. I want to face it together. Jordan, I know it's fast. I know people will say we're rushing. But when you almost lose everything, you realize how precious time is. I don't want to waste a single moment of it. Jordan reached into her pocket and pulled out a small box. Maya-chan, will you marry me? The ring was simple, a silver band with a small aquamarine stone the color of the ocean on a calm day. Maya was crying. Yes, God, yes. Jordan slipped the ring onto her finger and they kissed as the sun melted into the sea. Duke barked his approval and jumped around their legs, and somewhere down the beach, someone started clapping. Then more people joined in, locals who'd been walking the beach, who'd seen the proposal, who were celebrating with them. So much for keeping it quiet, Jordan laughed. I think we're past that, Maya said. I think everyone knows about us now. Good, I want them to know. Jordan pulled her close. I want the whole world to know I love you. They stood there as the sky turned pink and orange and purple, the storm-battered town behind them and the endless ocean before them. They'd weathered the hurricane, both the literal one and the metaphorical ones that came with choosing to live authentically. There would be more storms, more challenges, more moments when they'd have to fight for their right to simply exist and love each other openly. But they'd face them together, because that's what you do when you find someone worth weathering. Storms for you hold on tight. You refuse to let go, and you trust that love is strong enough to carry you through. And sometimes, when you're very lucky, desire really does hit harder than the storm. Hard enough to change your life. Hard enough to save it. Hard enough to build a whole new world on. The notification came through on Maya's phone while she was elbow deep in a tidal pool, cataloging juvenile horseshoe crabs for the Marine Center's annual survey. Jordan, wife, emergency at the clinic. Can you come? Maya's heart dropped. In 5 years of marriage, Jordan had never sent a message like that. She pulled off her waders in record time, barely remembering to tell her research assistant where she was going before jumping in her truck. The clinic parking lot was packed unusual for a Tuesday afternoon. Inside, the waiting room was chaos. At least 20 people crowded the space, and more animals than Maya could count. Dogs, cats, a goat, something that might have been a baby deer. She found Jordan in the main exam room with Marcus and their 2 other vet techs, all of them working frantically. What happened? Maya asked. Jordan looked up, relief flooding her face. There was a fire at the county animal shelter. Everyone got out, but they've got nowhere to take the animals. We're taking as many as we can, but we need help with intake and triage. Tell me what to do. For the next 6 hours, Maya worked alongside Jordan and the clinic staff, documenting animals, checking for injuries, setting up temporary housing in every available space. The local pet store donated supplies. A group of teenagers showed up offering to foster. Mrs. Patterson arrived with Duke and 3 other volunteers from the senior center. By midnight, every animal had been accounted for. Some went to foster homes. Others were treated for smoke inhalation and minor injuries. A few of the most critical cases stayed at the clinic. Monitored around the clock, Maya and Jordan finally collapsed on the clinic couch around 2 in the morning, both covered in fur and exhausted. You know, Maya said, when you texted me about an emergency, I thought something terrible had happened to you. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. Don't apologize. Maya pulled Jordan close. I'm glad you knew you could count on me. That's what we do, right? Show up for each other. Jordan kissed her temple. Always. What Maya didn't know was that Jordan had been planning something big. Something that would change both their lives in ways neither of them expected. It started 2 weeks after the shelter fire, when Jordan called a meeting with Maya, Marcus, Mrs. Patterson, and a few other community members at the coffee shop. I've been thinking about what happened with the shelter, Jordan began. About how quickly disaster can strike and how unprepared we were. This town needs a better safety net for animals. The county shelter is rebuilding, Marcus pointed out. I know. But they're stretched thin even in the best of times. And they're 45 minutes away. Jordan pulled out a folder of documents. I want to start a sanctuary. Right here in Mariner's Rest, the table went silent. A sanctuary for what? Mrs. Patterson asked. Animals that need long-term care. Seniors that no one will adopt. Medical cases that require ongoing treatment. Animals rescued from abuse or neglect that need rehabilitation. Jordan's eyes were bright with passion. We'd work with the county shelter, take the cases they can't handle. We'd be a true no-kill facility. That's a beautiful idea, Maya said carefully. But Jordan, do you have any idea how expensive that would be? The land alone, I've been looking at properties. There's that old Thompson farm, 20 acres. It's been sitting empty since Mr. Thompson passed. His daughter wants to sell, but she'd rather see it go to something meaningful than to developers. Jordan pulled out more papers, rough sketches, budget estimates, grant opportunities. She'd done her homework. I can't do this alone, she admitted. I need help. I need partners. And I need to know if this is completely crazy, or if it's something worth fighting for. Maya looked at her wife, at the hope and fear and determination in her face, and felt that familiar surge of love mixed with terror. This was who Jordan was. The person who ran into storms. The person who dreamed impossible dreams and somehow made them real. It's not crazy, Maya said. It's ambitious as hell, but it's not crazy. Mrs. Patterson nodded. I'm in. I may be old, but I can still walk dogs and clean cages. I'll help however I can, Marcus added. One by one, everyone at the table committed to the dream. The next 18 months were the hardest in Maya's life. They bought the Thompson property, taking on a mortgage that made Maya's accountant cry. They spent every weekend clearing land, repairing old barn structures, building new enclosures. Jordan worked at the clinic during the day and at the sanctuary site until dark. Maya tried to balance her own career with supporting Jordan's dream. The Marine Center was understanding, but there were only so many hours in a day. She found herself cutting back on her research, taking on more administrative work that could be done remotely. Money was constantly tight. They applied for grants, some came through, others didn't. They held fundraisers. Jordan started a social media presence for the sanctuary in progress, sharing their journey. Slowly, donations began trickling in, but it was the emotional toll that neither of them had anticipated. I feel like I never see you anymore, Maya said one night, after Jordan had come home at 11 o'clock for the 4th night in a row. I know. I'm sorry. Jordan slumped at the kitchen table. But we're so close. Another few months and we can open. It's always another few months. It's been a year and a half, Jordan. I know how long it's been. Jordan's voice had an edge now. I'm the one spending every waking moment on this. And I'm the one here alone, wondering if my wife still remembers I exist. The fight that followed wasn't pretty. It was the kind of fight where both people say things they regret, where old resentments surface. Where you start questioning everything. Jordan slept on the couch that night. In the morning, they found each other in the kitchen, both bleary-eyed and miserable. I'm sorry, Jordan said. You're right. I've been so focused on the sanctuary that I've been neglecting us. I'm sorry too. I know how much this means to you. Maya took Jordan's hands. But I need you to understand I didn't just marry your dream. I married you. And I miss you. I miss you too. Jordan's voice cracked. I've been so scared that if I slow down, if I take my foot off the gas for even a second, the whole thing will fall apart. But what's the point of building something beautiful if I destroy my marriage in the process? They held each other for a long time. We need to find a balance, Maya said. Together. No more you doing everything alone. Let me help more. Let other people help more. Okay, Jordan whispered. Okay, they started setting boundaries after that. 2 nights a week, minimum, were just for them, no sanctuary work, no research, just being together. They brought in more volunteers. Jordan learned to delegate, which didn't come naturally to her. Slowly, they found their rhythm again. Second Chance Sanctuary opened on a perfect May morning. 2 years after Jordan had first proposed the idea, the facility was beautiful. They had a main barn converted into a veterinary treatment center. Individual kennels for dogs, a separate building for cats, pastures for horses, and farm animals. Walking trails. A community room where school groups could visit and learn about animal welfare. The local news covered the opening. The mayor cut a ribbon. Over 200 people showed up for the celebration, but the moment that mattered, most of Jordan was quieter. An elderly woman named Helen arrived with her daughter, both of them crying. Helen's husband had died 6 months earlier, and she'd had to move into assisted living. They couldn't take her dog, a 13-year-old beagle named Biscuit with arthritis and a heart murmur. I've been so worried about what would happen to him, Helen said. The shelter said they'd try, but with his medical issues. Jordan knelt down to greet Biscuit, who wagged his tail tentatively. He's perfect. And you can visit him anytime you want. Every day if you'd like. Really? Really. That's what we're here for, to make sure animals like Biscuit have a home for as long as they need it, and to keep families connected when circumstances separate them. Helen sobbed with relief. Her daughter hugged Jordan so hard it hurt out later that night. After all the visitors had gone home and they were doing a final check of the animals, Maya found Jordan sitting in Biscuit's kennel, the old beagle snoring contentedly in her lap. "You did it," Maya said softly. "You really did it." "We did it," Jordan corrected. "I couldn't have done any of this without you." Maya sat down beside them, resting her head on Jordan's shoulder. "So what's next? What's the next impossible dream?" Jordan laughed. "Can we just enjoy this one for a while?" "We can." Maya kissed her. "We absolutely can." They talked about kids before, early in their relationship, in that theoretical future planning way that couples do. Jordan had always been uncertain she loved animals more than people. She joked in her childhood hadn't exactly been a great model for parenting. Maya had been open to it but not desperate. She had nieces and nephews she adored. If kids happened, great. If not, that was okay too, but something shifted after the sanctuary opened. Jordan started spending more time with the school groups that visited. She was patient and encouraging with the shy kids, gently funny with the boisterous ones. Maya watched her teach a terrified 6-year-old how to pet a rabbit, saw how Jordan's whole face softened. "You're thinking about it," Maya said one evening. "About what?" "Kids, having kids." Jordan set down the grant application she'd been reviewing. "Maybe, is that crazy? We're in our mid-30s, we just took on this massive responsibility with the sanctuary." "The timing will never be perfect," Maya said. "If we wait for everything to be perfectly stable and settled, we'll wait forever. So you want to?" "I want if you want to. I want to build a family with you, whatever that looks like." They started the process slowly. Research, discussions about adoption versus pregnancy, about international versus domestic, about open adoption versus closed. Jordan wanted to carry. "I know it's not logical," she said, "but I spent so much of my life disconnected from my body, trying to be something I wasn't. This feels like reclaiming it, I guess. Using my body for something joyful and chosen." They found a fertility clinic 3 hours away that specialized in LGBT plus family building. They chose a donor. They started the treatments. It didn't work the first time, or the second, or the third. Each failed cycle was devastating. Jordan blamed herself, even though the doctors assured her it wasn't her fault. Sometimes these things just took time. "Maybe it's a sign," Jordan said after the 4th attempt failed. "Maybe we're not meant to be parents." "Or maybe it just hasn't happened yet," Maya countered. "We don't give up on sanctuary animals after one setback." "Why would we give up on this?" "Because it's expensive and heartbreaking, and I'm so tired, Maya." "Then we rest. We take a break. But we don't give up unless you really want to." Jordan didn't want to give up. So they tried again. Amelia, the call came on a Tuesday afternoon. Maya was in a meeting when her phone buzzed with Jordan's ringtone, the one she only used for emergencies. "I'm pregnant," Jordan said as soon as Maya answered. "The test is positive." It worked. Maya started crying right there in the conference room. Much to her colleagues' confusion and delight, the pregnancy wasn't easy. Jordan had terrible morning sickness that lasted well into the 2nd trimester. She was exhausted constantly, but she was also radiant with joy. Talking to her growing belly, playing music, reading books out loud to their daughter B. They named her Amelia, after Jordan's grandmother, the one family member who'd always made her feel loved and accepted. Even when she didn't have the words to explain what she was feeling. Amelia Rose. Taurus Chung was born on a snowy February morning, weighing 7 pounds and 3 ounces. She had Jordan's dark curls and Maya's dimples. And she was the most beautiful thing either of them had ever seen. Those first months were a blur of sleepless nights and constant feedings and more. Love than Maya had known was possible. She'd expected to love their daughter, but she hadn't expected the way it would expand her heart. The way every smile and coo would feel like a miracle. Jordan was a natural mother, despite all her fears. She was patient and attentive, singing lullabies in Spanish, teaching Amelia about the animals at the sanctuary as soon as she could focus her eyes. "Look," Jordan would say, holding her up to see the horses in the pasture. "Those are horses. Can you say horse, horsey? She's 3 months old, Maya laughed. She can't talk yet, but she's listening. She's learning. Jordan kissed Amelia's head. I want her to grow up knowing she's part of something bigger, that we take care of those who can't take care of themselves. Amelia was 6 months old when Jordan's mother called. Jordan almost didn't answer. She tried reaching out to her family several times over the years, a text at Christmas, an email with wedding photos, a birth announcement when Amelia arrived. She'd gone silent in return, but something made her pick up. Mom? Jordan. Her mother's voice sounded older, frailer. I saw the photos you sent. Of the baby. Jordan's heart was racing. Maya, who'd been making lunch, came over and took Amelia, giving Jordan space but staying close enough to support her if needed. Her name is Amelia, Jordan said carefully. She's beautiful. She looks like you did at that age. Thank you. A long pause. Jordan could hear her mother breathing, could imagine her in the kitchen of her childhood home, probably wringing her hands the way she did when she was nervous. I've been thinking, her mother finally said. About what I said. When you told us? About you. Jordan waited, barely breathing. I was wrong, her mother whispered. I was scared and I didn't understand, and I said things I shouldn't have said. And I've regretted it every day since. Mom, let me finish. Please. Her mother's voice was shaking. Your father and I, we were raised a certain way. We had ideas about how things should be. And when you told us the truth about yourself, it challenged everything we thought we knew. So we pushed you away because that felt safer than questioning ourselves. Jordan was crying now, silently. But you're my daughter, her mother continued. And I've missed 5 years of your life. I've missed your wedding. I've missed the birth of my granddaughter. And for what? Because I was stubborn and scared? What are you saying? I'm saying I'm sorry. I'm saying I was wrong. I'm saying... Her mother took a shaky breath. I'm saying I'd like to meet her, Amelia, and your wife, if you'll let me. Jordan looked at Maya, who nodded encouragingly. Okay, Jordan said. Okay, yes. You can meet them, really? It's going to take time, Mom. To rebuild trust. But yes, you can meet them. Her mother sobbed with relief. Thank you, baby. I know I don't deserve it, but thank you. The visit happened 2 months later. Jordan's mother flew in alone. Her father wasn't ready yet, she said, but he was working on it. Maya watched Jordan pace the house for an hour before her mother's taxi arrived. She'd cleaned the same surfaces 4 times. She'd changed outfits 3 times. She was terrified in a way Maya had rarely seen. What if she takes one look at our life and changes her mind? Jordan whispered. What if she sees me with you and decides she can't do this after all? Then that's her loss, Maya said firmly. But I don't think that's going to happen. People don't fly across the country to reject their children in person. When the doorbell rang, Jordan froze. Maya answered it, holding Amelia. Jordan's mother looked smaller than Maya had imagined from photos. She was in her early 60s, gray-haired and tired-looking, carrying a suitcase and a large gift bag. Mrs. Torres, Maya said. I'm Maya. It's nice to finally meet you. Please call me Carmen. She looked at the baby in Maya's arms, and her eyes filled with tears. This is Amelia. Maya shifted her so Carmen could see her better. Would you like to hold her? Carmen nodded, not trusting herself to speak. Maya gently transferred the baby, watching Carmen's face transform as she cradled her granddaughter for the first time. Jordan appeared in the doorway, hesitant. Hi, Mom. Carmen looked up, still holding Amelia. Oh, Mia, look at you. You look so happy. I'm happy. I can see that. I can see it in everything, your home, your family, the way Maya looks at you. Carmen's voice broke. I'm so sorry I missed this. But I missed you. Jordan crossed the room and hugged her mother carefully because of the baby between them, but tightly enough to say everything that words couldn't. The visit lasted a week. Carmen met the sanctuary animals, watched Jordan work, saw firsthand the life her daughter had built. She was quiet sometimes, processing, clearly working through years of prejudice and misconception, but she tried. She asked questions. She wanted to understand. On her last night, after Amelia was asleep, the 3 women sat on the porch watching the sunset. I need to tell you something, Carmen said. When Jordan first told me she was gay, my first thought wasn't about religion or morality or any of that. My first thought was, what will people think? Jordan stiffened, but Carmen held up a hand. Let me finish. I was ashamed of that. I'm still ashamed. Because I chose strangers' opinions over my own daughter's happiness. I chose comfort over love. And the worst part is, most of those people whose opinions I cared so much about, they don't even matter. They're not here. They didn't hold my hand when my mother died. They didn't help when your father had his surgery. You know who did help? The church ladies who I thought would judge us. The neighbors who I thought would whisper. They all just wanted to help, Mom. The only person who wasn't there was you. Because I pushed you away. Carmen looked at Jordan. I'm not asking you to forgive me immediately. I know I need to earn that. But I'm asking for a chance to be part of your life. To be a grandmother to Amelia, to be a better mother than I was. You were a good mother, Jordan said quietly. That's what made it hurt so much. You taught me to be kind, to help others, to stand up for what's right. And then when I needed you to stand up for me, I failed you. I know. They sat in silence for a while. Maya held Jordan's hand, letting her process. Finally, Jordan spoke. I'd like you to be part of our lives. But you need to understand this is who I am. Maya is my wife. Amelia is our daughter. This is our family. If you can accept that, truly accept it, then yes. I want you here. I accept it, Carmen said firmly. All of it, and I'll do whatever I need to do to prove that to you. It wasn't perfect. There were still awkward moments, still times when Carmen's old conditioning showed through and she had to catch herself. But she kept trying. She started sending care packages. She called every week to check in. She told her church friends about her daughter and daughter-in-law. Jordan's father took longer. He didn't visit that first year. But he started emailing. Short messages at first, then longer ones. He asked about the sanctuary. He wanted pictures of Amelia. It was progress. Slow, imperfect, but real. Amelia grew. Up at the sanctuary, toddling between kennels, learning to be gentle with the animals, helping feed the chickens as soon as she was old enough. She had 2 mothers who adored her, a grandmother who visited twice a year, and a sanctuary full of furry siblings. She was 4 years old when she asked the question Maya had been anticipating. Why do some kids have a mommy and a daddy, but I have 2 mommies? They were at the beach, Amelia building a sandcastle while Maya and Jordan watched. Because families come in all different shapes, Jordan said, pulling Amelia into her lap. Some kids have a mommy and a daddy. Some have 2 mommies or 2 daddies. Some have one parent, some have grandparents raising them, some have adopted families. What matters isn't what your family looks like, it's that it's full of love. Oh, Amelia thought about this. Do I have more love because I have 2 mommies? Maya laughed. Maybe we definitely have double the hugs. And double the people to kiss my boo-boos? Exactly. Good. Amelia squirmed free and went back to her sandcastle. The question answered to her satisfaction. But as she got older, the questions got harder. Kids at school said mean things sometimes. She came home crying once because a classmate said her family was weird. You know what's weird? Jordan told her, wiping her tears. Being mean to someone just because they're different. There's nothing weird about love, baby. There's nothing weird about family. And anyone who says there's just doesn't understand yet. Will they ever understand? Some will, some won't. But that's not your responsibility. Your only responsibility is to be kind, to be yourself, and to know that your mamas love you more than anything in the world. Amelia seemed satisfied with that. She grew up confident, compassionate, and utterly secure in the knowledge that she was loved. When Amelia was 7, they added to their family again, not through pregnancy this time, but through foster care. A teenager named Sophie, 17 and aging out of the system with nowhere to go. Sophie had been volunteering at the sanctuary for months, quiet and skilled with the animals. Jordan had noticed the signs, the way she lingered after her shifts ended, how thin she'd gotten, the exhaustion in her eyes. Do you have somewhere safe to stay? Jordan asked her one evening. Sophie's careful mask slipped for just a moment. I'm figuring it out. Come stay with us, just while you figure things out. Sophie stayed for 6 months, then a year. Then she stopped talking about leaving altogether. They officially became her guardians when she turned 18, helping her apply to college, celebrating when she got accepted to study veterinary medicine. "You changed my life," Sophie told them at her high school graduation. "You showed me what family is supposed to look like." Maya and Jordan renewed their vows on their 20th anniversary, back on the same beach where they'd married the first time. Amelia was 16 now, tall and confident, reading a poem she'd written for the ceremony. Sophie was there with her girlfriend, fresh from her second year of vet school. Jordan's mother sat in the front row with Jordan's father, who'd finally worked through his own prejudices and become a devoted grandfather. The sanctuary was thriving, housing over 50 animals at any given time. Jordan had won awards for her work. Maya had published a groundbreaking study on sea turtle conservation. Together, they built something that would outlast them, not just the sanctuary, but a legacy of love and acceptance and showing up for those who needed help. They'd weathered so many storms together. The literal hurricane that nearly killed Jordan, the financial struggles of starting the sanctuary, the heartbreak of failed fertility treatments, the painful process of rebuilding family relationships, the everyday challenges of raising children and running a business and staying connected to each other through it all. But they'd survived everything. More than survived, they'd thrived as they said their vows again, older and grayer and happier than they'd been 20 years before. Maya thought about that first morning in the coffee shop. The honey jars, the mess. The absolutely terrible first impression that had somehow led to the greatest love of her life. "I would do it all again," she said, going off script. "Every hard part, every scary moment, every storm. I'd do it all again just to end up here with you." Jordan was crying, as she always did during emotional moments. "Even the part where I almost died in a hurricane?" "Especially that part. Because that's when I realized I couldn't live without you. That's when I knew for absolute certain that you were it for me." They kissed as the sun set over the ocean, surrounded by everyone they loved. The next generation watching and learning what it means to love someone completely, to build a life together, to face whatever comes with courage and hope and an unwavering commitment to each other. The storms would keep coming. That was life. But they'd face them together, the way they always had, and that was more than enough. They got married the following summer on the beach. With the whole town invited, Mrs. Patterson brought Duke as the ring bearer. Pete from the coffee shop catered. Mrs. Chung cried through the entire ceremony. Jordan's parents didn't come, but her brother did, slipping in at the back. He didn't stay for the reception, but he hugged Jordan before he left and whispered, "I'm trying. I want to understand." It was enough. It was a beginning. Maya and Jordan bought a house together on the high ground overlooking the bay. They adopted 3 more dogs and 2 cats from the shelter. They became the town's unofficial lesbian aunts. The couple all the questioning kids gravitated toward. The living proof that love could survive anything, even hurricanes. On their first anniversary, they returned to the hammock where Maya had found Jordan. It was just a small rise in the marsh now, peaceful and ordinary in the summer sun. "I think about that day a lot," Jordan said. "How close it was. How easily I could have lost everything." "But you didn't," Maya reminded her. "We didn't." "No," Jordan smiled. "We survived the storm. Both of us." They stood there hand in hand, watching egrets wade through the shallow water, listening to the marsh grass whisper in the wind. The world was bright and warm and full of possibility. "Ready to go home?" Maya asked. Jordan squeezed her hand. "I'm already there." And they were. They finally truly were.